Okay, everybody, welcome back to Anime Savants, and this week I am begrudgingly Uta.
Oh shit! This week I am Lum.
Okay.
There's a little bit of news, right? Because that's coming back.
Yeah.
There's a remake coming. So.
And let's hop into. So we're 2 weeks ish. There's been like a life has happened for the both.
Yes,
of us.
I take full responsibility because I was on death's door from some unnamed illness for like a week and a half.
I was in Texas, so
The same
stuff happened.
if you're a woman, I guess, or anyone who's not a white man.
Yeah, just it's stressful to visit generally. If you're coming from the north. Anyways, we are like 2 episodes behind on Spy Family, so I guess let's just hop in. It's just so satisfying. It's just so fucking satisfying.
It's the light of my week.
It really fucking is. So we didn't even talk. Okay, so the episode before last, so before the first day of school, is the castle episode. Holy shit, that kind of went in a direction I just really wasn't expecting. I literally thought he was just gonna laugh in her face, or laugh in their face, and basically be like, yeah, that's cute. But he's like, nah, we're gonna expense all this shit. Let's go. And the whole time the episode's going on, I'm just constantly thinking, I was like, aren't you all like jeopardizing so much shit? So many spies obviously went to this fucking thing. I was like, there's no way no one in that country is looking at this shit like, oh yeah, this is normal. Ain't no fucking way. I was like, somebody fucked up and jeopardized their position or something like that. Like, there's no fucking way this happened. But overall, episode was great. Kudos to them for putting the music on Apple Music immediately.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that song's on Apple Music, TBD. That shit, because that was one of the highlights of the episode. I was like, what is this song? Oh my god, like this is perfect. Like it's going, it's not just the the jazz like music or whatever. It was like an actual song, upbeat, like scene appropriate song. I love how they just made that nigga show off the entirety of that. The show makes ways for them to like insert just like is it Sakuga really, or is it just like action sequences? It's like random ass action sequences.
It's so competently made, the whole show. Sometimes like the really good stuff doesn't stand out as much because it's so well made. It's not like it's like the standard scene. Probably the cheapest thing they ever make is when they're just like walking around outside, right? Like just you get they're using a lot of filler stuff in the background. There's they blur out detail, they use CGI, like those are the cheap scenes, and those look fucking fantastic. So then you get like high action scenes, and it's like the quality level is up, but it's already so good looking that you don't really appreciate it until you go back and you watch it.
Yeah. I love the whole thing where the informant was just like an impromptu fucking villain. Great. I love the whole thing. I just like how at the end of the day, the show still centers around Anya. Like, no matter what happens, like, Anya has to be the centerpiece because Lloyd cannot do it all by himself. He needs her to not even cooperate, but he needs to like figure out ways to like be adaptable to a child and to her specifically.
Right.
So
the idea that he has to like it's the parent dilemma, right? Where you cannot make your kid be anything. You can only like encourage them or threaten them. Like if your kid's a dummy, it doesn't matter. Like the tests are gonna fail. There's no amount of, you can't do it for them. Yeah. So it's the same way. Like his mission only works if Anya succeeds, but he can't do her role himself. He can only encourage her to, live up to that. And so in a backwards way, he still has the same parent instinct, but it's just motivated by crazy stuff rather than this is his blood child that he must protect at all. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then I love that the spies, they just idolize him so much.
They went along with anything.
Yeah, and not only that, they created a fiction, right? for all this to make sense. So it's just fucking wild.
Yeah. That was a cute, like, celebratory episode. And then we get to the fucking first day of school. And now I'm just like, wow, I want all these kids. I want like primary like kid interactions from now on, which I feel like the show's most likely going to do because, you know, it focuses around her and the school and Eden Academy and shit like that. But like Lloyd and Yor's exploits are definitely going to factor into that eventually also. Right. Or like from the jump basically. Because he already was saying, oh, I made some connections here at like the parent thing while the kids were like out touring the school. But the fact that how do I put it? The interactions and like the personalities of all the kids that they introduced were just so like bright and intriguing from the get-go. And the way that I think what highlighted it though was the way that they interacted with each other off the jump. And the key thing was Anya's telepathy and her reactions to everything. I was just like, this is fucking perfect. Like, fuck yeah, I don't want to fuck with you. You already looking down on me. Like, I don't want to be your fucking friend, Becky. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I loved it. The Anya face. Now I know where that face is from because I've seen people post like the manga part of it with like all of it in black and white. And so now I'm like, this is where this fucking face is. Oh my god! Like Troll Central. Yes. Like, oh my goodness, fucking amazing. Of course, Damien is a little dick from the jump, but also high key has a crush because he was like, oh, she playing hard to get. She cute. Right? Whatever.
So this like, motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. Get the fuck out of here, bro. But it was good. The whole setup for that I think was great because you have the kids are on the in the audience and they're all brought down to the lower level. So you get like the three kind of views of what's going on. You have Lloyd primarily sort of laying out like what the mission is, that what he wants Anya to do, and then you get like Anya's view of like what the kids are thinking, and then you also have what the kids themselves are thinking. So it's very cool that they get these inner monologues because they're so important to showing, you know, the misunderstanding, I guess, of like what's going on. I especially loved when like whenever they do Anya's view, they would always have her like question, the advice I got from so and so, it did not work. Like,
yes, mommy's a liar.
Bullshit. Yes, which is what kids actually, they have that experience. Yes. Of like, you know, you're told all this stuff and then you start to meet other people, you get out into the world, you're like, my parents were fools. They told me it would work this way and it definitely does not work that way. Right? So it always is skimming that surface of, you know, reality, the realism of it. Then the comedy comes in very quickly. So I love that part.
I actually really like that, what you just said also, because that's exactly what happened with Yor, but I also was like, you're lying because you get affected by your emotions all the fucking time and beat niggas up. So I was like, you trying to tell her to curtail her feelings, and she's like, bitch, no, that is impossible. These people are fucking crazy. Yes. No.
Yor has been on like the knife's edge of murder basically since we met her character. Like, you meet her and she's like, you know, office lady. Oh no. The next scene, she is berserk killing dozens of men with her bare hands, right? And then when she gets into the family, it's like instantly like she has a guillotine fetish, and you know, everything about killing gets her all hot and bothered. And even when she talked about raising her brother, she like when they gave more of the detail, it's like, no, she was also a psycho then too. Like, it's not.
Yes.
She's good natured, so like that's not the problem. But damn, giving advice to Anya, she could have killed that boy.
She could have killed that boy. Man, yeah,
could have killed him.
So yeah, I'm all caught up with that one, and then the next episode is tomorrow. I've stopped watching the previews because I just want to be like completely surprised. So I'm just gonna see.
Yeah, I'm at the point where what I read in the manga is kind of done and over with, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh.
Yeah, I read up until basically the beginning of this episode, and then I was like, this is very good. I know it's gonna get made into a series. The one that I really went into hard was Kaiju 8, and listen, if this is any indication of the titles that are coming out of Jump Plus, or whatever they're calling their online service.
The online one, yeah.
Yeah. And I heard some series got moved over to that was a weekly. I don't remember which one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of their top 10s got moved over to the online. But either way, if that's an indication of sort of what the quality level can be, whenever they get around to doing Kaiju 8, which I presume next year, maybe end of next year, there will be some announcement about that, because it's too good. All I hear are
good things about it. It's
too good to stay on the shelf, and anyone who has read it knows that it has an art style that would make it very unique in a very grown-up and internationally transferable way.
Ooh.
It's kind of perfect for that, to have some mainstream appeal, even outside of like traditional anime channels. So I am very happy about what is happening. Spy Family got it got a deluxe treatment, but it got it I don't know if it's when it was announced and you saw some clips from it, if people kind of understood that this was going to be such a high quality show. And I can't imagine the dub not doing well on like American TV.
No.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of the other thing about the episode. Oh, right, that they in the episode 5, is it 6? Is 6 the latest one?
Yeah, 6 is the latest one so far.
Yeah, so in the latest episode 6, the one where Anya punches out, is his name Rufus?
Damien.
Oh, Damien, sorry.
Damien Desmond, I think.
Where she punches him out. The other good thing about that episode is that, okay, finally we have some structure, right? Because in the beginning, Lloyd's boss kind of lays out exactly what the stakes are gonna be going forward and what the challenges for Anya are going to be going forward, and we now know that like it's all about her academic performance getting into this very like select, basically the honors club. She has to do well enough in the school to get enough stars to get into this club in order to have this meeting. And then the alternative is a fail path, which is great because sometimes very straightforward stories in anime do not bother to tell you what the actual stakes for losing are and the conditions. It's just sort of assumed like if our heroes don't get what they want, then it's game over. Here there's a structure to it, which means that you can have tension like we had in this episode where she punches this kid out. And we know from being told ahead of time that she can't get too many of these negative stars. So it's not just an event that happens at the school. Oh, it directly, it creates some peril in a situation where, there's guys with guns and people get assassinated and there's like consequences. But realistically, we know that like our main characters are not going to die.
Yeah.
So threats of violence can't be the where the tension comes from. It's got to come from like the academic side and the mission, right? The way the mission plays with the academics, it's got to come out of that. And so they gave us a nice little structure for understanding the trouble that our characters are going to have to overcome. Because now she's got this demerit; she can't get like 7 more of them. And who knows, there may be a time in the future where she has to do something that's so bad that she gets a bunch of them at once. So then you can kind of have her teetering on the edge of failure and the parents freaking out, which is, again, a lot like what regular parents do in a non-crazy situation. So I thought that was great. And now we kind of have a structure moving forward. And we kind of like identified the bad guys and the people that she's going to have to overcome as far as like the academic side as well. And Mr. Elegant is still doing his thing.
Yeah, I thought it was great. She
lied to protect a friend.
I thought it was great how he got demoted into being her teacher as opposed to just getting fired. I was like, perfect setup.
Makes sense.
Because he protected her in a sense.
Right. Even in the beginning when his boss was like, bro, you expense all that bullshit. I was like, at least they mention it.
Yes.
Like, don't let that just pass. Like, she was fucking pissed.
And he just kept on going. He was like, yeah, I got some more bills for you too.
He has balls. I'll give him that. So yeah, I enjoyed the last couple episodes, and we'll see where things head next week.
Yeah. So as far as other stuff, I caught up with Trapped in a Dating Sim, and I'm in love. This is amazing. This show is amazing. Everything that Shield Hero is supposedly missing out on now, I'm getting from this. And I really am so pleased. I'm so fucking pleased with this show. Is the writing like fucking phenomenal? I don't know.
It's okay.
It's whatever. But is it satisfying? It's so satisfying. Just all of the little arcs that we go through. His First of all, I just like how they're just like, well, not how they're, but how he admits he's like, I'm just gonna have to be the villain. I'm just gonna have to be the villain to these people because like they're fucking idiots. Like they're fucking idiots. I'm gonna be the villain to in turn help them be better people. But also, at the end of the day, I love how his mindset is not over, I have to succeed in society and like I have to be the best in the world. He's like, I want you niggas to leave me alone. I want to get enough power to the point where I can go live on my island and you will leave me the fuck alone. I love it. It's so just like, and then he stays true to that character. He stays true to that goal the entire time so far. Where he's like, I mean, no, I don't want to do this, but like, you know what? You piss me off. Or like, I don't like Ikemen. Fuck you. I'm gonna fuck you up. Like, it's all him. There's no grand scheme of like, I'm doing this to save the world and I got transported to. No, he's literally here and doing it for himself. I love how they co-opted the supposed villainess into being like a supporting character who actually has feelings and actually had like things. But then also in these further arcs, like it's like, girl, but you were a piece of shit at once.
Yes.
Like, you were a piece of shit and you do have to deal with that. And then also just, okay, because first of all, I had a feeling it was a little sister. And once she was like my brother, I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
I was like, it's the little fucking sister. Now, how she died and got transferred, or if she died at all, who knows? But oh man, there's just so much. There's so much. There's 7 episodes. So much has happened. I'm not gonna give y'all the whole fucking plot line, but like, it's just so sad. The fucking mecha battle 1v.
I laughed my ass off the entire time.
That was so entertaining. The moment that he took out a shovel, I was like, "Oh, this." He
whooped these niggas' asses like it wasn't even. It was just an embarrassment, and there was not supposed to be any dramatic tension whatsoever. They were just gonna get annihilated,
no risk,
and treated like shit. Like, I just like that there was no nobility. He just hated these motherfuckers. He hated them. That was it.
I love the AI. How the AI is literally like more and more getting comfortable with basically being like, you're a bad person.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, fuck, yeah.
You're a piece of shit.
You're not like, a good guy.
Yeah, you're not a good person. And he's just like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, whatever, let's just keep going. But also, in the most recent episode, the girl said it perfectly. She was like, you're really twisted, but you're a kind person. And I was like, yeah, that's it. But the thing is, you wouldn't interact with his twisted part if you just don't get on his bad side.
Fair
That's
enough.
It.
And the best part is that that kind of character is a certain fantasy for real assholes in real life. Everybody wants to believe that they're, they act like a jerk, they're insensitive to other people, but really deep down they're a good person. That's what everyone wants to believe. It's very hard to write that character because it's so easy for them to either just fall into being a very
asshole.
A straight up unrepentant asshole, which is fun, but you have to want to do that, or like a goody two shoes who they call an asshole because maybe he's mean once in a while in the context of the story, but like wouldn't do anything over the line because then you can't be heroic anymore. This guy's just a piece of shit, but his motivation actually makes a lot more sense because it's not about the other people who are, like, oh, this happens all the time in like returner stories, right? They betrayed me in another life, so as a result of that, I can do whatever I want to them. Like there's that version. This isn't like that. He just hated that fucking game. He hated the game.
He wants nothing to do with that world.
He didn't want to play it in the first place. He got forced into doing it. This isn't a type of game that he likes. He's not like, I always want to be in an atone. No, this is a literal hell for him. There's nothing redeeming about it. And he said it in the first couple episodes that the world makes no sense. Yes. Like, there's too much shit in it. Yes. Like, there's from everywhere. It doesn't even work.
Magic. Well, there's no Magitech. So that
right.
Two different races of humans. One race can use magic, the other race couldn't, and now they're extinct. But then their fucking robots are still around trying to kill the people. It's like, oh, okay.
He's like, this is dumb. The person who wrote this he didn't even want to make games like this. He just took all the stuff from other things that he liked and threw it in. All of the pay-for-win shit is in the world. As long as you know where to get it, it's there. So it's so funny because it's they are, I love being meta, but there's times when like they could be too, like a storyteller could be too in on the joke, and it's like you are pretending like this isn't supposed to be a well-built world, but then you want all the characters in it to treat it like it's very serious. But we have at least 2 characters in the story at this point who know that this is all shitty. Like it's a bunch of crap basically, and so they treat the people in it that way. Like they can manipulate them however they want. They kind of do whatever they want to them, anyway. And the main character's motivation is just leave me the fuck alone.
Yes,
I already beat this game. I don't want to play this game anymore. Leave me alone.
I love it. I fucking love it. I love it so much. And it's just nice to like have like a power. Like, it's not even a power fucking fantasy isekai. It's just like, it's a character that is just like true to himself and not with the bullshit. He's not, and it's honestly, he reminds me of fucking Rimuru. Because Rimuru basically is just like, bro, I just want to chill. I just want to live. Like, I found like these monsters are cool. And eventually it grows into like, because he never wanted a country. He was just like, I just want to protect the people who I care about. Like, that's about it. They fucking evolved it, and all the other surrounding things made it go into that direction. But at the end of the day, Rimuru, one of the main reasons why they got fucked up so bad in the previous season is because Rimuru was not on the political like kind of shit like that. That nigga was in the dwarven country drinking.
He's like, leave me alone. Let me do my shit. Like, what the fuck is this?
He's chilling. So I'm like, this is the kind of character that I appreciate in the isekai. And that's also one of kind of the reasons why I like Mushoku Tensei. Rudy is in it for Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy's in it for Rudy. And that's one of the things that is intriguing about that show. Where it's like, Rudy's in it for Rudy, and he's very hard-headed in that aspect. Where it's kind of just like, nigga, you're still extremely selfish. Like, you're really not learning the lesson, and you're going to have some more. Like, a lot more. Like, hard ones. So
I think that it's like, I like what you brought up, that it's like similar to Rimuru's character. It's the inverse of his character, because Rimuru's character is kind as the by default, and then is has a rage when it comes to things that are personal to them, right? Like that is the dichotomy, and that's why when you're watching it, you're getting satisfaction out of like the slice of life stuff, because again, that's the passion of that character, just building stuff and having a good time. And then when the bad guys show up and piss him off, you're like, yeah, we know when he snaps, it's about to go crazy. So he starts with kindness and then kind of finishes with brutality or spitefulness or whatever you want to call it. But it's never really negative. It's like, I'm doing what is necessary in order to get me back to my situation. A toy game, that's just turned around. This nigga wants to be, he wants to be left alone, but like he leads with, I'm a dick. He leads with, I don't like you. He leads with like, I'm gonna fuck you up if you get in my way. I don't give a fuck about this anything. And I don't care if you're a prince. Right. He takes that shit real serious to the point where like it becomes spiteful and ridiculous. And then he finishes with kindness. Right? Like once he's disposed of somebody, he's not going back. Like when the princes show back up again, like he doesn't like them, but now they're just rendered down to like jokes. For him, like he's like whatever. And then the people who he helps, whether it's on purpose or just as a result of him trying to get at someone else, he's always very kind to them because they didn't do shit to him. They're honestly, not like pissing him off.
I feel like he's building up allies unintentionally. Because from this episode with the homegirl, with Filk, the one that his ex-fiance, when she said, like, she was like, you're kind of twisted, but you're not a bad person. Like, you're a kind person. I was like, bruh, I can definitely see her coming back around later on in some, like, court situation where he's getting fucked up. And she's like, actually, I can vouch for him. Like, he's better than Filk and the prince and all this shit like that. So it's just
reverse. It's the same tension, it's the same like beats, but it's all the character is reversed. So I kind of like it better that way because like you get the catharsis of him just ruining somebody or just fucking all their shit up, and then it's sort of like what's that classic Pleasure and Pain, that book by the Iceberg Slim, where it's like, how do you break a hoe? First you gotta hurt her, and then you gotta you gotta take her to the hospital. That's what his character is like. He breaks him first, and then he shows them the kindness that's underneath or whatever. And I'm like, that's so funny that I'm into that, because I normally would not at all. Maybe because I hate the game that he's in too, so I kind of just want him to fuck everybody up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I will be watching this every week, y'all. So this is just like, this is an automatic, like, it went from like nowhere near on my radar to like top 3, like immediately, like top 3.
That's
like,
so funny.
Like this, I feel like what, like Spy X Family, Summertime Rendering, and this, and I gotta catch up on Summertime because apparently that shit is just, just oh my god. Apparently it's like despair. Like, so I'm like, yeah, let me get caught up on y'all.
Well, goddamn.
And not a lot of people are watching it because I guess Disney is not releasing it to the Americas yet for some reason.
But they gave us fucking Black Rock Shooter.
Well, is that on Disney Plus?
Yes. What do you mean?
It's Summertime. I keep seeing.
No, I don't know about Summertime Rendering. I'm just saying, why are they holding one and not the other?
Because I keep seeing people begging to find out where to watch Summertime Rendering, and I'm like,
oh, I don't know about that.
Isn't it on Disney Plus?
No, I don't know about Summertime Rendering. I don't know. I'm just saying, Black Rock Shooter's on Disney Plus.
Well, then that whoever the fuck is in charge of that, I was like, man, y'all need to reevaluate.
That shit don't make no fucking sense, bro.
Yeah, y'all gotta reevaluate.
That don't make no sense to me at all. Oh man, I did not go back and watch more, but I saw some fucking clips from episode 4 and 5, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we fucking doing?
What is it? What did you see?
There's a lot of implied rape.
Still?
Because they're fighting against that. So at the end of episode 3, where I stopped watching, machine. Yeah. So they started their like confrontation with that gang, but like all the other robots are rapey too.
Okay, I'm done. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Moving
Who the
on.
fuck is the writer? Jesus
I don't
Christ.
fucking know.
Oh
I don't know anything about that one.
Okay. Next thing, I also watched Bubble.
I watched some of Bubble.
It was a good. It was not bad.
No.
It was not bad by any means. To be honest, listen, Sawano really did some heavy lifting. I just have to say, he did some fucking heavy lifting with this. The movie made it very clear what it was doing. Once we got the mermaid story, I was like, good, okay, I see what we're doing. I think the problem for me was that it was just a little too straightforward. There was no twist. It was literally just the story, but anime.
Right, true.
Like, I was kind of just like, okay, wait, you dropping like the story that early on makes me think, okay, this is a fake out. Like, you're gonna tell us this is how this is gonna go, but we're gonna get a spin on it. Which is, I would have been happy with a spin. We got no spin. It was just a fucking mermaid. It's Little Mermaid, the original.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not mad at that, but I kind of was expecting more, especially when they were touting all of these big names behind it. I was like, Urabochi didn't really have to write anything.
No, this is what was wild to me. Listen, now I'm just saying this. This is because we don't live in the universe I'm about to describe, so I don't have to take responsibility for what would happen if there had been a different outcome. But I swear to you, I was watching. I was waiting for it to get dark as fuck. I was waiting for that. Okay, now
Maybe they were thinking the darkness was like Uta's like fucking finger and shit.
I don't care about that shit. No. I wanted like fucking body horror bubble monster fucking swallowing people's like half of their face and like, you know, whatever, something to spur them on.
Uta to be the origin of a disease
or having people like turn into bubbles and shit and melt in front of the screen, and it's like he's got to kill his girl. Little kid.
Like something.
Yeah. So I wanted that, or at least I expected that. I don't know if I wanted it, but if I had gotten it, knowing Gen Orobuchi, I'd be mad as fuck about that shit too. Because I remember what happened in Guilty Crown. Okay, I was Guilty Crown. Like I gotta go back to, because I know now it has nothing to do with this movie. But here's my experience with Guilty Crown. First, was it 7-8 episodes? You think, oh, it's just about him going around discovering like all the different weapons that he could pull out of people while they're having this like, you know, rebellion, and like he's just sort of becoming more and more powerful, and maybe there's a climax, maybe the love interest part is gonna like take over. But at the end of the day, that's the direction that they're going. Did I expect at like episode 8 or 9 when they got stuck in the school for it to be like, actually this nigga's been like killing everybody slowly around them by pulling these weapons out? It's also like it's memories, it's fucking everything up, and like he's got to start sacrificing people. There's like all this depression, they're trapped in the school, there's like all these little things, and I'm like, wait, we're not even close to the end of this season.
24 episodes.
Yeah, and like all of his friends are like dying, or like they're being put into, you know, horrible positions and shit. He's depressed. He wants out. He wants to commit suicide. Other people want to commit suicide. I'm like, ah! And then it ends with like the all the other stuff with like the robots, and now he's leading the
other guy being like I remember that. I didn't really enjoy that ending.
Like it was a mess. Like the end was a mess. But what I'm saying is I just didn't expect when it switched over to full on depression mode. Okay? I think I was waiting for it to flip, the bubble to flip into full on depression mode. And it never happened. And I was mad about it. Because I was like, if you don't have that, then all you have is a very, very, very good looking Little Mermaid story with awesome music. And you think that's enough.
I mean, listen, and that's the thing though. That's enough for some people.
Yes.
But the way that they like advertise this, I was like, okay, like we're gonna, at the end of the day, it looked great. I love the little like parkour bubble running scenes, but I have to say it again. Sawano did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yes.
A lot of it. Especially with the vocal tracks. Which I'm surprised you didn't have Gimme come back through Sawano. Like, what the fuck, man? Where's she at? Y'all better not play with me. Maybe they're going to be in Xenoblade. Oh, wait, no. I don't think he's doing the soundtrack for Xenoblade 3. Anyways, I wanted to like it more. It's not that I didn't dislike it, but I think like my expectations for it were much higher than what it gave me. Now, is it bad? It's not bad enough where I'll be like, ugh, don't watch Bubble. Who watches Bubble? Like, what the fuck? Like, no. I'm just going to be like, it's a straightforward fairy tale story. I'm not going to tell you what fairy tale it is. I'm just going to basically be like, it's a straightforward fairy tale story. Just, you know, reimagine it in an anime-esque world. I will give it to the show, though. I did like the world building that they did around,
yeah, world building was pretty good, especially
crisis.
at the beginning. I mean, like, there's something a little initially contrived about the fact that it's basically just Tokyo. Or it's like Japan. Like, I was, again, this is what had me all fucked up. I presumed that this was like post-apocalyptic for everybody. We didn't even get like what the bubbles were in the first, like in the end. We got nothing. Yeah. Well, if you remember in the first like 45 minutes, they do like the brief history of like what happened around the world, and it's a lot of bad stuff. It's not like good things were going on. Like apparently like America became an isolated semi-fascist nation, you know, and there were wars.
I did not pay attention to any of that shit.
Yeah, like there's these. So that's why I was expecting something shitty to happen, because all the things happening external to Tokyo were bad, and then the situation they're in, it's like it's a beautifully rendered environment, but it's like these lost boys and girls in this rundown, a post-apocalyptic looking setting. It's just colorful, but it's still post-apocalyptic, and then like it was all about competition over.
And like, to be honest, going back to the Orobuchi shit, it's just that a lot more body gore could have happened because there's no way that them niggas was just getting flung around in water with all that debris hanging over there.
Yes.
There's no way in hell someone didn't lose a leg or a limb with that. Because there was like jagged debris around all of them.
So much cool shit that you could do. I mean, cool in a gross and disgusting kind of way with like fluid dynamics. Like, I don't think I've ever seen in any animated anything somebody get torn apart by water currents. Like that, because you have that opportunity to do it, is disgusting. It's also horrifying and terrifying. Anyone who's ever been in a jacuzzi, right? Like you sit down in the jacuzzi, it's got the jet coming out, and when that shit pushes you, it feels good. But you always get that lingering thing in the back of my mind. This is strong as fuck. What the fuck? Or if you go out in the water and you actually do start to feel riptide, like you're having a nice day, you know, in the shallows, and then your foot goes whoop, and you're like, oh wait, the ocean can fuck me up if I'm not paying attention. So there's like, I don't know. Obviously, again, that's not what this movie ever, I think, was going to be. Or if it was, the Gen Urobuchi part of it was in those little like side comments about the rest of the world being fucking shit. Maybe like that. Yeah. Maybe the original treatment, they were like, we're gonna do like Little Mermaid. He came through with it like, well, what if, you know, she sent a water beam and sliced a nigga in half from like the neck down to his balls? And they're like, okay, Ken, all right, stop. But what if another nigga committed suicide by hanging himself upside down underwater? I was like, bro, no. You get the little newspaper clippings. You ain't writing the story, bro.
I would have even been happy if like she was the origin of the disease and like the main thing was like she has to die. But like how does she die? Like do someone just like, do they kill her or do they take her back to the tower to have her have like a, you know, some kind of like, you know, not a peaceful death.
No, but she like comes and becomes one with nature. Oh, and he
well,
had to let her go.
Anyway,
but
and that was so
right. Exactly.
At the fucking very end, I would have at least felt a bit better about it if like if it fixed something. If it just she dissolved into the fucking water, and then at the very end they're doing parkour, and she's clearly still there. She's just a bubble now. So I'm like, So like all of the like graveness, I thought that like, you know, I wanted that nigga to be a recluse and be the only one staying in that shit and basically be like, this reminds me of Uta. I will never leave this area again in my life. No, them niggas are all doing the fucking parkour shit. They all having fun. The difference is now they're like next to no bubbles anywhere. There are a few bubbles, and there's this one bubble that's following fucking homeboy around, and it's clearly fucking Uta.
Great. So I think it was fine. I basically watched like the first 40. I skipped around the middle. I was like, okay, I kind of see where this is going. I watched another 20 minutes and then like skipped a little bit more and then watched the last 20 minutes. I feel like I didn't miss anything.
No, you didn't.
I feel like I didn't really miss much. You know, I kind of got what they were trying to tell me. I really
love the floating rock parkour. That's about it.
Yeah. I agree. I loved a lot of what I was looking at and a lot of what I was hearing, not so much what I was thinking about. But then I'm starting to question, like, maybe I'm just a sad soul with a dead heart because I couldn't.
No, because this is their marketing team's problem. Because you don't market these specific people in this way, and then you give us this.
Yes,
maybe to new anime fans who do not know who the butcher is, but like,
yes, I know the Oro Butcher. Yeah, come on, don't tease me with that shit. What's that meme of that Indian dude's like, you naughty, you teasing me? Like that's what you're doing. You're fucking teasing me, man. Like I don't know. Maybe I've just been poisoned by Made in Abyss. Maybe that's what it's done to me, because what a glorious fucking film that you watch in order to feel like you want to die. Like that's what I'm looking for these days, I guess. It's just pure depression. Fucking Bond Dread, man. Oh, you haven't seen it yet. I can't say anything. I want to say so many things, but I can't say anything.
I'll do it on Sunday.
Oh, my God.
Let me just get this shit out the way. It's almost time for the second season anyways.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, the second season. You want to talk about body horror. Oh my God.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So I think the consensus for me again. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a movie you can show anybody, so that's great. It looks good, sounds good. Just don't read too much into some of the cast that's involved with it and assume that it's going places that it ain't. You're right that this is like it is The Little Mermaid, but it's a lot more serious. I think it's like Little Mermaid obviously is visually aimed in a certain direction. This one is dealing with some pretty heavy stuff on an individual character basis, especially when you have the main character and his kind of like background and the flashbacks and what kind of happened to him, and the life of most of the main human or all the main human characters is not pleasant because the world they live in is not ideal. But the story itself is not really centered around their trauma as much as but they show a lot of it, which is interesting. That's not the core of the story. You just see a lot of it. No, it's straight up Little Mermaid, cute girl falls in love with the human, and not
the Disney Little Mermaid, like the actual like Little Mermaid story,
the original. Like, yes,
she dies. So
yes,
it's like, yeah. But I kind of had faith. I was like, well, if she's for sure dead, then what you gonna do, nigga? Like, we getting like gnarled, like fucked up death, or we getting like sudden like ooh, it's dead, like one frame down. Like, what we doing? Nah.
There's a movie, actually, another anime movie that now I cannot remember the name of it for my life, but to me, it's essentially this movie mixed with Nausicaa. And instead of the theme being bubbles, the theme was like trees. So like, everyone's gonna turn into a tree. The main characters, it's all about like life and growth.
Oh. Now that you say the theme is trees, I feel like, especially with the one, it's like people are slowly. Is it like not a disease, but it's kind of
it is kind of like the main character's father got like it's a whole thing where like it's post-apocalyptic world. There's only a couple of cities left. One of the cities is kind of like built around a giant tree, and the main character is a young kid. He meets a girl after having like an accident happen where he kind of fell into the bottom area where the trees are. He gets scratched or something, so he's starting to have the same treeification happen, but it also gives you strength. There's a third-party country that's on like a giant fortress thing that is sort of coming for them or is going to take over. So it's got that like Nausicaa vibe to it.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, and it's another one that's very well animated. The name is just escaping me off the top of my head, but it's the same kind of story. I think the only difference here is that at the end, the main character is the one who I think sacrifices himself in some way, but he gets reborn. But he learns from his dad, who also had the same thing. It's a whole deal. Anyway, I think that like
is it a genetically engineered forest?
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
yeah.
Origin Spirits of the Past.
That sounds very, very familiar. So, in any case,
well, something I'll look up.
It's not like a Little Mermaid story exactly, but it's inspired. You can kind of tell what they were, getting their notes from because, again, very, very much Nausicaa because they've got like the evil machine empire that's coming, and it's like trees versus the earth, and then the message at the end is you have to coexist and blah 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 blah. Like we know that deal. So, I would definitely recommend Bubble, and I would recommend it to just a general audience. There's no
Which I feel like that's what it's meant for, because it definitely wasn't trying to do anything like, experimental or evocative.
No, not really. Okay, so besides that, I watched more of I Quit Heroing, which is sort of like my like C+ show.
I think I'm gonna pick that one up also.
Yeah, I enjoy it because it's like so every episode is like how do you deal with a specific type of person who you would see at a workplace in a job. So the last two episodes were the spy character. Turns out that he's kind of like a moody teenager, but he's been put in charge of interviewing people to join the demon army, and he doesn't have the personality to open up to people or get people to open up to him. And so in the context of learning how to communicate with other people, he basically seeks out the main character, and that person, he teaches him kind of how to empathize with the person that he'd be interviewing to get them to tell and speak more freely about the things that they're good at and the things they're not good at and about their lives. So, you know, it's like a little episode and a half mini arc about communication. There was some really decent comedy sort of thrown at the end because the demon queen doesn't know the identity of the main character. He's sort of masquerading as a Black Knight, but it's just to avoid showing his face because she fucking hates him with all of her soul.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, there's comedy there, and they managed to segue that into another lesson about, and it's more Japanese culture focused, about how like the after work culture of being called in to go drinking, right? So she's so happy with his work that she wants to reward him with like a meal and drinking on the house, and he knows that he can't show his face, and she'll be able to see through any like disguise that he happens to have. So he has to come up with ways to like avoid showing his face or like lead her on so that she gets drunk enough that, you know, she doesn't ask any serious questions. And he kind of is every time he tries something, she kind of inadvertently does something to counter his tactic of just getting out of this lunch with this dinner with his boss without embarrassing him. So that was how they framed it, was around things you can do to keep your social graces but not get fucking sloshed and say something that you don't mean to say. That was cute. And then the last episode was really about how do you deal with someone who doesn't understand that others cannot work to their level. Like, there's a character who is strong, but he's also a hard worker, and so he thinks that because everyone is a hard worker, he doesn't realize that he's actually extremely talented as well. And so he's running his subordinates to death because he thinks that all they've got to do is work as hard as he does, when in fact,
because he thinks he's the baseline or some shit.
Yeah. So like, you know, it's, if you only look at it through that lens, every episode has a couple of little like comedy, slice of life, workplace
That's lessons. My favorite kind of shit, though. I like that. Oh.
Yeah. There's a turn that I did not think they were going to make that I'm not clear yet, and I'll continue watching, whether it makes the show a lot more intriguing or if it makes it like a little more trivial as to what's going on, because you find out about the backstory of the main character, and it ain't what I thought that it was going to be. Oh. I'll put it that way. I was, because there's like, they show a little clip from like in 2 episodes past, they were like, you know, you get a hint, and I'm like, what kind of show is this? Is this an isekai? Is it? I didn't think it was isekai. It's not. But I was looking at it, I was like, how does this fit in with and they made sense of it. I was like, okay, didn't think you were gonna go that route, but this is
okay.
Yeah, so there's some more spice to what's happening here than just a convenient excuse to do all these little mini comedy sort of scenarios. And the writing is decent. It's not to the level of some of the similar shows that we've watched in the last couple of seasons, whether it is whatever, Genius Prince, or what's the other one I'm forgetting?
The Prince, super smart Prince.
Yeah, whatever. But it's the writing level.
Genius Prince. Realist Hero.
Realist Hero. There we go. They're so big overlap in my brain. So it's the writing probably overall isn't up to that level, but it's also not quite as ambitious as either one of those shows, because the world building in I'm Quitting Heroing is kept just to a high enough level to tell the story they want to tell. There's not as much investment into that much bigger scale and scope, because I'm not sure if the story that they're gonna aim everybody towards is as big as where Genius Prince is going, and also where Realist Hero is already at, right? Because that's like world level politics, so you have to kind of buy what's going on in all these little places with all these different factions and characters in order to make that story work. But imagine if Realist Hero was kind of only focused on just the main character's kingdom, or maybe just the court of that kingdom. You wouldn't have to invest so much in all these moving parts to make the rest of it work. So that's kind of the feeling I get here. It's not as ambitious. The animation is good enough. There's some, like, you know, there's an archetype for everybody. I do want to give them a little bit of credit, because they, in the context of the world they have, they do invest time in some like really quick quickly introduce supporting characters that are there to do one job, and then they kind of like they get out of the way, but you just see them around here and there. So it's a nice way to just do world building without really doing it. Like, you met this character in one episode, they keep popping up in the background anywhere else. So there's a little bit of attention to detail, but I give it like a C+ if I'm comparing it to just every show that is really great. But it's probably one of the only other things that I come back to on a weekly basis. Like, Otome is up there. Otome is like my number 2 of the season for me personally. This is trying to fight for that 3rd spot, but it's not a strong competition from anything else. Like, most of the stuff I've taken a look at that I know is good. So like, was it Komi? And whatever, Shikamori's not a cutie, like that. Like, those are good. Those are actually just good shows. They're just not my cup of tea. So they're not penetrating it. And also, like, One Piece is high key doing some of the best work in the history of the anime series. It's just that I'm a manga reader, so like I don't need the anime on a weekly basis to get me forward in the story.
You come in for the key parts.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's definitely not on my weekly watch list. Someone suggested that Greatest Demon Lord Reborn as a typical Nova.
Yeah, I heard that was like super straightforward.
Yeah, like, someone suggested that to me.
You would expect.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to watch that if I'm not watching Rising of a Shield Hero, because it's the same reason I wouldn't watch other. You have a overpowered asshole of a main character and a harem of girls. If Shield Hero that has a lot more going for it as far as like world building is off my menu, I'm not going to be interested in this.
Which is so
I'm not
sad. Like, I plan to catch up, but I'm seeing a lot of people.
Spirit Turtle shit sucks. It just fucking sucks.
Yeah, a lot of people are not happy.
Like, you spent 7 episodes on a fucking turtle. Like, you know that an arc sucks when the most expressive character who is supposed to be a villain immediately joins the heroes. Like, they didn't even wait. You know, like, normally it's like, here's the new girl villain. She's so evil. Oh, we gotta be. Then they beat her. Then now she's an ally. Like, okay, it's cliche. But at least you had to work to get there. This character literally shows up. You find out about the spirit turtle. This girl shows up and she's like, I'm the emissary of the turtle. I'm technically your enemy, but I want to die and I want that thing to die. So I'm actually going to join you right away and start helping you. And I'm like, I couldn't. It's like you gave
got further than me.
All you got, all this arc had to offer was probably the addition of that character to the harem, and you gave it to me in episode 2. So it's like, I don't care. I don't care at all about what is happening. And the turtle's so dumb. And I was playing a lot of Elden Ring, and all I could think about was the Turtle Pope from Elden Ring. Like, it's just a big old turtle with a hat on it. And I'm like, whatever the spirit turtle is, it cannot be more entertaining than the Turtle Pope. So fuck this series.
Oh my
I'm not
God.
watching it.
Wait, what is that monster that has like that big ass bell on its back?
In what? In the
Elden Ring.
Those what do you call it? They're like shrines, but like they're huge. They're like,
it's a shrine.
You have to break things on their feet to get them to like sit down, and then you can go in and duplicate any of the Great Ring power or the Great Ring.
Holy shit! Okay.
So that's how you can avoid like. That's how you get all the items without redoing New Game Plus. All those legendary items, but you only get one. You can use what you get from those shrines in order to duplicate the thing, so you can get every special item if you want to. It's a lot of fun. Christ. Elden Ring better than Rising of a Shield Hero Season 2.
Wow.
Much better.
Wow. Alrighty. Is there any news?
Is there news? Well, I would say that the big one for me was just the announcement or the confirmation, I guess, not so much the announcement of Urusei Yatsura remake, which I think is great. I think there's a whole 3 generations of anime fans that don't know anything about that series or the character most people see and associate with it, which is Lum, who is really the sort of love interest, but the main character is, just another Japanese guy. Like that's always the case.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's coming back, I think, is awesome. There are some trailers for upcoming series that are getting, their kind of official launch. Chainsaw Man being one of them. there was a little bit of news just about the production process for the new Bleach season seeming to just be going in a expected direction. So I think it was October is when we're supposed to
October, when everything else is supposed to it's supposed to be part of the fall. Fall.
So I think all of that is good, but it's not like there's nothing really stuck out to me as like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I'm still salty about thinking that there was some unknown Gundam shit that it turned out just to be stuff from a mobile game. So I'm still angry. It's been weeks, but I'm still not happy about it. Like,
okay. Wait, I already mentioned this one, the Spy X Family thing. So Mob Psycho season 3 is for sure happening. Yep. That's great. I really enjoyed that fucking second season, especially the first half with the fight with Homeboy who was like possessing people in that little small town. That shit went crazy. Even the final battle. Actually, you know what? I enjoyed all of that season. Even like the climactic battle where everyone was getting fucking handed. I was like, oof, this is getting better and better. Okay. There's a Rick and Morty anime coming? I did not know this.
That's weird to me, but not so much. If you've watched like Adult Swim, they've had instead of like making new seasons, I feel like they spend all their money going and paying like random studios to do like 2 to 3 minute like little mini Rick and Morty things, and a lot of them are they're just good anime studios doing it. So I'm like, I might as well just make a fucking anime at that point. Got like 10 of these things out here. So
I mean, I'm not a Rick and Morty watcher, so that makes more sense then with this like coming along.
But I'm just saying, like, it's on. They don't actually have like, or at least until now, there wasn't like any tease about this. It was just you'd be watching some Adult Swim shit, and then there'd be a bumper they put on, or a little like mini, instead of a commercial, you get 2 minutes of animated Rick and Morty something,
and then
out
back
of nowhere.
into the other show.
Yeah, it is back to whatever the fuck else is going. Yeah, so it's all weird, but what you gonna do?
Okay. Four Knights of the Apocalypse is getting a TV anime.
Good.
Not surprised. I feel like it's a little too soon though. Didn't it just premiered January of last year?
There must be some mobile game.
Well, there is a mobile game that's very popular in Japan. The 7 Deadly Sins mobile game makes good money, and more money in America because they overcharge for things that are free in the Japanese version. But
do you think Arknights is getting an anime? I feel like it almost has to.
I think it is. No, they've done. I think they've done like anime shorts.
Yeah, they've done like shorts, but I'm like, stop beating around the bush. Like, we know what this is.
They're gonna give it an anime. It's too popular of a mobile game. The thing is, the quality of the anime is the question. Also,
true.
I just don't like that style, the way that the characters are like chibi. I'm like, ugh.
It's not really my thing. And also, furries being like a part of that world is.
Oof. Well, then I mean, this is part of my recommendation. Some people must be.
Can we talk about how many Utawarimono sequels there have been? And I only watched one of them, and I was so fucking confused. So. They're visual novels, right? Like that's where the Utawarimono series comes from. So there was this is my
Utawarimono. Okay, yeah.
So my interaction with this entire franchise, there was maybe was it 10 years ago or 8 years ago, there was a Utawarimono anime that was produced that was technically the sequel to it was from the second visual novel, okay? I didn't know any of this because it didn't have a number next to it. It just had a fucking subtitle, and I was like, whatever.
I've almost bought several of those games that way.
So I started watching it, and I'm like, it's a pretty high quality, like from an animation point of view, anime with a lot of world building going on. But I felt as I was watching, like, there's a hell of a lot of shit, because it starts with the main character like waking up in a capsule. And then instead of it being very like a technologically advanced future, it's like a fantasy setup with like all these animal people and weird shit. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine, cool. Like that's the direction that the series takes. Then they're like, oh no, there was a whole ass other story in the past, like 1,000 years before that this main character comes from. And I'm like, bro, wait, what? It was like our time. It was normal shit. It wasn't And then like I've just seen sequel after fucking sequel, and I never got through that one season because I just felt like I was missing too much, and I'm not gonna go back and find all that. So I fell out of it. As it was interesting, but I think we're on like the 4th anime adaptation.
There's a lot of it. I almost bought one of the games because I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting, and then I ran into the same thing where I was like, wait a second, what is this?
Yeah, where do I start with this? Like, what is this?
Yeah, like, am I on the right timeline? Is this a reboot? What are we doing?
Yeah, it felt exactly like that. Like sometimes you can come into a series and they do a decent job of like introing you. I just feel like I got tricked because like I was like rocking with them for the first 3 episodes, and then they start going back, and I'm like, wait, hold on. I guess I need to know all of that stuff to make sense of what's happening right here. Yeah, and I ain't got it like that. So I just pieced out because they started going crazy. I was like, all right, bro, all right, it's you guys got it. Go take your series. It's yours. It's not, yeah. So they got me. But I'm interested. I want to go back. I just don't know really where to start. Somebody tell me, where do I start with Uta Waremono that does not involve me having to play through a fucking visual novel, like 8,000 routes, and doesn't involve like, I don't know, 30 to 40 episodes of other shit. Just help me out. Help me out.
I can't.
I ain't doing it.
All right. And for my final piece of news, it might be a question of have we gone too far? But I know we haven't, because I know that niggas are definitely going to buy this and tune in. No. So, and you know what? I might be one of those niggas that might also find it and tune in. But caressing the nipples of my hibernating bear.
Okay, let's roll that one back. Just dial it back. Wait. No, that's actually worse.
Reveals more cast.
Oh no.
July 3rd premiere.
What? Wait. When you said bear, I'm like, okay, well that's animal cruelty, right? That's bad. But like, what? But when I realized bear, it was not bear. It was bear. Like
it actually. No, you're actually right.
Wait, excuse me?
So it's like they're fucking they're not full on furries, they're humans with fucking ears.
Okay. So it's like like bears, but they're sort of a bear.
They basically have a bear tail and the fucking ear. But the rest of the body is literally a human male that goes to the gym every day.
I mean, fine. I'm not fighting any of this.
I'm not fighting it. I'm just like, first of all, I've never heard of this in the BL community at all. But also, just who decides? I don't know. You know what? I know there are several other BLs of like varying genres in BL that deserve anime adaptations. But maybe I feel like this, simply because of the shock value of the name, probably skyrocketed it like so fucking fast. It's like the isekais. Like, I'm going to another world of lose my virginity. Like,
oh boy.
I feel like that's like very straightforward. I feel like they have to give it to us in these now, because the BL market's blowing up, so they gotta catch your eye.
True.
But yeah, you know, as I was with Titan's Bride, I had questions, and then I watched it, and then I started reading it, and I was like, okay, well, there's surprisingly something here. Like, they're really they're going hard on like the fantasy magic system, like political intrigue. Like, they're going
you said that it was very. The political side of it was actually very well developed.
Yeah, no, they're really like the other races of the world all have completely different traits and interact with each other differently. Humans basically are non-existent anymore. Like, it's all very interesting. But at the end of the day, it's still about huge Titan penis. So it's just what it is.
That's about right.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that was my last piece of news. I just go out with a bang.
Cool. I could the bear is really still getting to me, but I'm moving on.
Well, because you're probably thinking of like a bear, like the gay.
That's what I was thinking, and I was like, oh, there's an allegory there, but like, okay, But this is like somewhere. Somehow they managed to meet in the middle, and it's not better for me. So I don't know why. Why did I bother? Like, it's fine. Yeah. We're good.
Alrighty. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about in general this week? Or should we just go straight to recommendations?
Well, you said that you had something that you were excited at least to talk about.
I did.
So, maybe it was your recommendation is what
my recommendation that in turn goes after the furries. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I'm not coming after y'all. I'm not coming after you. I just have to say that. So there's this, and this is actually a mobile game recommendation. The game is called Dislight, and you've probably seen it all over YouTube and Twitter because they've literally whored the fuck out their like advertising team. Like these bitches are everywhere, and for the most part, I was ignoring it because I was like, I see this everywhere. I don't want to play it. Like you're annoying me. Like get the fuck out of my face. But then randomly, I was like, you know what? I'm going to download it. It looks kind of interesting. It looks kind of cool. The characters are kind of like esque. It's based off of like gods mixed with like hip hop, urban shit like that. And I was like, yeah, we'll see. Anyways, the story isn't what Yahoo do. It's more so about like the RPG aspects and like the collector thing. Now, here's the thing. In gacha games, you usually can click a character and there's a community review function where if you click the review function, people will tell you, oh, build them as a speed set. Build him with HP percentage. Do cool. Defense. Blah, 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 blah. Depending on the game, that is either very helpful or fucking useless and full of depravity. And that is what is in this game. Because because it's about humans that are being imbued with mythical god powers after this thing called the miracle drops on the world. So some gods, some myths, some legends are of animals. So there are furry-based characters. And I just have to say that some of these reviews are just like touch grassy, like extremely touch grassy. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? This is very weird.
Is this like a need Jesus type of moment, or like what's going on?
Yeah, there's an Anubis guy, and someone commented, "I need him to get in my Anubussy." And I'm just like, okay. What set do I build him with? Like, what the fuck do you mean? I don't care about that. I came to this review because I wasn't sure which set to put on him.
He said my Anubussy.
So yeah, like the furry shit is just like, I know y'all, that's y'all own thing, you know, just don't touch real life animals, whatever. Do what you gotta do. But like, come on, man. Like if the game, like that feature is there for you to review the character. Like as far as like the strategic based elements of the character. Not you getting wet from pixels. I don't care.
Getting moist for your pull, right?
And this is for everybody. It's not. I didn't mean just getting wet. Like all of y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot because you're doing it on the girl characters also. You're doing it on the androgynous characters.
Chill, so, everybody, chill.
Otherwise, I'm enjoying the game so far. I've been playing it for like a little bit over a day or so. It's very well paced. Where it's like once you get to the point where you need to start paying, you can just put it down. Because it's not very, like, you know, demanding of your fucking time. Or you could be one of those people who spent $1,000 and are at the end game content and are already bitching after 1 week. Which, I mean, whose fault is that? Have you ever played a gacha game before? You're not supposed to do that. But, yeah, that'll be my little recommendation. The music is like hip-hop urban-esque. It's not good with the hip-hop parts. But, like, the urban, like, you know, like, chill music, those are good. Yeah, but some of the vocal tracks, I'm just like, oh yeah, y'all just got anybody to do this, girl. But anyways, the more money you get, you know, you can get other like indie artists to come in and maybe put their music with the game. That's another thing that I could see the game doing well with is like highlighting indie artists, because it's English based. It's like all the music's English based. It's not like Japanese based at all. So getting more indie artists and putting their music into the game, because there is one aspect where it's like, you know, like the rhythm kind of like video game where you like press the button or whatever, blah. That's one of the modes in the game. So it's like you can introduce people to new people's music that are within the similar genres that the game likes to employ.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Mode. Yeah. So
actually, frankly, I'm surprised. Are there other games that have done something like that, or because that clearly is a design for that purpose, right?
I feel like, well, I can't really say because I have played Vose, and I really enjoyed that one. And I can't really tell if those are like indie artists who put all their stuff on there or if it's like made only specifically for that game.
It's a really smart idea that I guess the reason why it really sticks out to me is because I know that, and I complain about it, like gacha games are sort of they are casinos, but they're really designed to be like a monetization pit. That's what their purpose is. Yeah. There are they're pretty good designers who work on mobile, so I'm not just disparaging the mobile market. Like, it's just a big market. So there's going to be things, there's just going to be things like this model of game design in there. Not mad at it. But in a lot of ways, the thing that bothers me about a lot of these games is not that they are a money pit. It's that they make the money pit unfun. You know, like it's like the actual gameplay of a lot of these games is not engaging. So if you want to sell me other things through that platform, it'd be a tough sell for someone like me. Now, a mega fan is probably going to buy everything. But if you are implementing features, it's like, oh, here's this fun thing, and low key, it's just designed to do as you say, like introduce you to an artist so that they could pull secondary income from people who are like, oh, I want to get this music through the game, or I want to do something else that way. That's just smart, you know, like catering to an audience and finding another avenue to get money out of them for products. That's a cool idea. I didn't even think about, like, say, embedding a smaller mobile game inside of a mobile game to sell you the music and not more energy tokens to play the other little game. Like, I'm not against that. I mean, like I don't play gacha games. Like, well, Apex is kind of a gacha game if you really want to be real about it.
What?
Because what's the only thing you do in that game? It's just get Apex packs and pull for skins and shit. Like, that's what it is. Like, I don't know.
But that's not. But you, like, the stuff that you spend money on, can that really progress you?
No, there's no progression. It's just that it's just a free to play model of having some cosmetics you can try to buy. But anyway, I don't want to belabor that point. I like that idea, and it sounds like at least it's attached to something in the game people would just do if they enjoy it. Oh, I hear this cool music, and maybe there's a little like button to tell you who the artist is, or something that lets them know that they're getting impressions through the game. I got nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. So I have a recommendation, but first I have to just complain, which is
okay.
You know, we don't have a huge community, so I don't blame anybody out there in our community, but I'm pointing my finger at the entire manga and anime community, okay? How come y'all niggas didn't put up the bat signal to let everybody know that the breaker is back? And not only is the breaker back, it's back in motherfucking color, okay? How come no, I saw nothing about that. I just stumbled over this shit. The Breaker, which is like one of the OG manhwas from back in the day when them shits was still black and white. Okay? The Breaker is back. And not just back, they just, all these translation groups, they just dump it now. This shit is fire! It is fire! It's still fire in color.
Like no one was translating it for a while.
Apparently, I saw 6 episodes pop up out the blue off of one of my favorite translation groups. Bro, I love The Breaker. Now, it's not my number one manhwa from the, before pre-webtoon era. Yeah. That is always going to go to Veritas, even though it never got a proper ending. It got canceled like 100 some odd chapters deep, but it's some of the sickest shit. And I take no bones about liberally ripping them off. That story, the character designs, the ideas, and some of the work that I do, I'm paying homage. That shit was fire, and it never got it's like the Veritas to me is like the siren of manhwa.
Whoa.
It's just some shit that was fucking hype and cool. No one ever heard of it. It came out at the wrong time, before the Korean shit popped off, and it just, it will forever linger in obscurity. It'll just be there. If I know you're a real nigga if you know what it is. We talking, you're my homie for life. It's like me and Dreamcast fans, right? Like, we gotta stick together because the numbers are not, they're just not there. So The Breaker is motherfucking back in color. The story is great because now they basically ultra nerfed the main character after the end of season 2, and they brought him back into the story now in the role that his mentor was in season 1. So they're basically doing, it's like a soft reboot of The Breaker in webtoon format, but with the original character having gone through everything he did, depowered and training somebody new. It's fucking sick. It's sick. It's still sick. God damn. It's crazy. Crazy. So, complaint, but also a recommendation. Go fucking read The Breaker. Go read, though. If you didn't read it before, go listen, man. I know we're spoiled by webtoons, all these fancy colors. Got Ant Studio out here pumping these shits out like I don't know, they're going out of business. Okay,
yeah,
but this is the OG, and unlike when some other OG series come back, it's still motherfucking tight. It's tight as fuck. The martial arts is sick. Like, the paneling is now. The Breaker was known for having some really expressive, painterly black and white panels when they got into the shits. Okay, it looks great in color. It's the style's a little bit less like, so if you know anything about The Breaker, the art style uses a lot of black. Like, you do a lot of like outlining and filling in backgrounds with just solid black to make the character parts pop out. So they're not like, really, it's a very interesting, unique style. That has kind of been pulled back because now they're in color, so they don't need that contrast. So it's a little bit different, but everything else that you like about it is still there. Characters still getting fucking mollywopped. Like, just sick shit. And actually depowering the main character is good because if they want to kind of retell, they want, like, the Rocky story, like Rocky 2 or whatever, maybe it's Rocky 3 where he's like just fucked up going in. You want to like retell that story of like getting back on the horse. Anyone who's a fan, you already know what you're salivating for to happen, re-unlocking powers and making them cooler. And if you've never followed the series and you only want to start in this season, you're not really going to miss that much, and the moments are still going to be pretty cool. And again, they have a kind of a secondary main character who is like a weak ass nerd who's getting his ass kicked and gets rescued by the main character. Now he wants to be strong like him, so they're doing the master pupil thing, even though technically all of the events of The Breaker took place in like 1 or 1.5 years. So this is like, he was like 15 in the first, he's like 16 or 17 here. This nigga's still in high school.
What?
Like, god damn, like, this nigga went through everything on Earth in one or 2 years. So they can still keep the school setting, but not primarily for the main character. It's wild. Anyway, Breaker, very cool. Go read it. However, my actual recommendation is another webtoon. It's by the author of Triple F Class Hero. I don't know if I've mentioned this. Maybe I've mentioned that I read it. I don't know if this was a previous recommendation or not, but it's fucking great. If you enjoyed Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy and you want a version of that story where the main character is just a fucking misanthrope, then you will want to read Is This Hero for Real? Okay, so I don't know much about the author of both this and Triple F Class Hero goes by a pseudonym. It's Farnar. So I don't know who they are, but both of those series have the same thing in common, which is, and I know I've talked about Triple F Class Hero last year as a recommendation.
Wait, triple F Class?
Yeah. Okay. The commonality between both stories is that the main character is a tremendous asshole. Okay, like, we're not talking about the kind of asshole that's like, oh, you're kind of nice deep down. We're just talking about someone who is unrepentantly annoyed and angry at the world that he is in and the shitty ass rules that govern that world, and then they do everything they can to break every one of those rules. So if you like Tsukimichi, where the setup was the goddess singled out the ugly kid and like kicked him out, it's basically the same thing. The story opens with the whole class gets fucking summoned. This guy, they're allowed to ask questions. This nigga's like, I just want to go home. Can I just go home? And the goddess is like, yeah, sure, you can go. But instead she just dumps him in a forest to die because there's some shady shit going on.
Oh my god, Tsukimichi again.
Yes, okay. Exactly. And I won't tell what happens after that, but the main character is obviously, he has an instant revenge story to fuck this goddess up because she lied to him that he could go back. And actually, unlike in Tsukimichi, the stuff that's going on with the rest of the class is actually just as interesting as what's going on with the main character, because that's your vision and view on how fucked up what this world is doing to people that it brings in this way.
Oh,
so there's a lot. So it has sort of a dual track, even though we spend about 80% of the time with the main character, bro. There are some moments, both in reading this one and going back to Triple F class, that I just had me rolling, because I was legit like I was crying laughing at just the level of disrespect that this motherfucker has for virtually everybody in the world. And one of the cool things is that they introduce very quickly, he everyone else gets abilities, he gets the opposite of an ability. He gets an ability where nobody that he deals with will like him, and he can't understand anything anybody is saying. So it's just supposed to fuck him. And the way in which he manipulates that to his advantage, like, he can only understand people who are trying to kill him. So if you don't pose him any harm, he also can't get any value out of anybody else in the world. And so he has to figure out like how to get around all these things. Also, the consequences for doing both good and evil acts isn't necessarily a good or a bad thing. Like, you get permanent consequences in this world. So there's blessings and curses. And so watching people think that they're in one kind of a tropey scenario and then wind up with like a permanent curse that never goes away. So there's actual stakes for even some of the secondary characters where you're like, oh, they're fucked for the rest of the story. There's no getting out of it. You're just screwed. It's great. Wow. It's great. It's absolutely great. And I strongly recommend Is This Hero for Real, because it is a kind of power fantasy, but it's genuinely funny. And if you like this series, and presumably if you like Tsukimichi, go back and read Triple F Class Hero, because that story is like, this one is more it's grounded and kind of follows a more straightforward progression. Triple F Class Hero is like off the wall in like episode by the end of the second or third chapter, because he keeps having to replay the same scenario, because he's like, oh, I completed the world, I beat the final boss, and then he gets a grade and it's always F, because the way he did it was just the most misanthropic bullshit way you could do it. He killed, and like, this one where he literally just kills everybody. Every single person in the world is dead, including the Demon King.
Is it because of the poison dragon thing?
Yeah, but there's that one. He caused like a calamity. But the thing that I love that part of the story, because he is being chased by this dragon. He's using its poison breath to kill everybody, but that then causes like a famine across the world because everyone's making food is dying and whatever. So like the first 50 or 60 chapters is just him trying any underhanded, dastardly means necessary to just not fail the first like version of the world that he gets to. And there's times when he failed one, he's so pissed off he actually tries to do it even worse and fuck people up even more on the next go around. Or that he's like, okay, I'll be good this time, but by being good he exposes that most of the people in that world are pieces of shit anyway, so he gets like fucked, and then he eventually gets pissed off and kills the wrong person. It's great comedy to watch him just get so fed up over the course where he just stops taking anything seriously. He's just like, oh, okay, you know what? If I can't win, then we gonna be here. Like when your kid, if someone's kid is like, they're at the supermarket and it's like they just start having the tantrum and they sit down. And it's like, you know what? If you ain't gonna fix it, we just gonna be here all night. That's that nigga from Triple F. Is This Hero for Real? He's moving towards a goal. that's very clear from the beginning, but like it's great. So I recommend all three as a package. Tsukimichi, if you haven't watched it, Is This Hero for Real? If you're interested in a webtoon that's very similar, but maybe even more misanthropic, and then go back and read Triple F Class, because the level of just chicanery, debauchery, like is
Triple F Class done?
It's still, I think it's based on a light novel.
Oh, okay.
I think it's not. It's still publishing chapters, so I presume, but it's the same author for both of them. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if like he wrote another light novel or something, but like, oh my god, I get so much joy out of these types of stories. I think that's probably why I liked Otome Game. Because it's all the same thing. A person who just doesn't take this shit seriously, is fucking fed up, he's screwed, but he's also a piece of shit, and so he'll just like screw other people even harder and doesn't care. It's great. It's actually hilarious. So recommend all three as a package. But also read The Breaker. Go back and read the fucking Breaker, bro. Read the If you were like God of High School, the God of High School got its swag from The Breaker. That's where it got its swag
okay,
from.
now that's a good way to end.
And it's a Muram story, like, you know, martial arts. So it's not like, you know, gods and demons and other things. Like, the supernatural part is just how powerful all these martial artists. But niggas get washed in The Breaker. Like, when they say The Breaker, like, when you see the aftermath of, like, physical damage is done to people, you're like, God damn, you broke every fucking bone. His teeth are in his nose. Ooh. Like, why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do all that, bro? Like, it's just like a martial arts competition or some shit. Like, you gotta like ruin a man's whole career. Like,
oh my god,
is that necessary? Like after like a playoff basketball game, the other team is like their legs are embedded in their heads. Like, no, it ain't that serious. Okay, it ain't that serious, bro. It's not.
Wow,
it's not that serious at all. But anyway, that's my recommendation.
All right. Well, that will be all for this episode. It won't be all for this week because we got another episode coming right after this one. Yep. But if you haven't already, make sure you check us out on Twitter, anime_savants, and then regular Anime Savants on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Facebook is being raggedy, so they're discontinuing podcasts on Facebook through the RSS feed right after they implemented it at the beginning of this year. So you cannot get the podcast there, I think, anymore starting in July, if you do listen on that platform. I don't know why they fucking did that, but that was a very quick turnaround for them. But you can still like access the community page with the links to everywhere else on the Facebook page also.
Extra whack. You can hit me up anytime on Twitter at Neural Handshake. Please, someone tell me where do I go with this Utawari Mono shit? Please,
no,
just tell me. Just let it holler at your boy. Just let me know what I gotta do, because I'm not playing no visual novels. But the anime looks fire, low key. Like, I want to pick it up, but I just don't know where to start.
Well, I guess that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Peace out.